They told you kindness is strength, but in the real world, kindness without power is a weakness that predators feed on. Every smile hides an agenda, every favor carries a debt, and every good person you meet is wearing a mask. By the end of this video, you'll understand why the world only respects the ruthless, and how to become one without losing your soul. This isn't a motivational video. It's a survival guide for the modern mind. You'll learn the hidden laws that shape human behavior, the same principles used by politicians, executives, and manipulators to dominate quietly. Stay until the end, because when you finish this, you'll see through people like glass. And if you're serious about power, subscribe now, because this channel doesn't teach motivation, it teaches control. Number 1. The illusion of kindness. Let's begin with a brutal truth. The world rewards appearance, not authenticity. Most people think being nice protects them, but niceness without boundaries is submission disguised as virtue. Look around you. The kind ones get drained, the compliant ones get replaced, and the ruthless, they rise. Because power respects one thing: resistance. Machiavelli warned, it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Not because fear is good, but because fear protects you from betrayal. Picture this: a young professional in a corporate jungle, always helping, never saying no. She believes loyalty earns safety, until one day, the promotion she earned goes to the one who played politics better. She learns what most never admit: the system doesn't reward effort, it rewards leverage. Dark psychology begins when you stop expecting fairness and start studying influence. Think about your own life. How many times have you been drained by someone who pretended to care? How many times have you silenced your instincts to avoid conflict? Comment below, no more masks. Because the moment you stop apologizing for your strength, that's when your real power begins. Kindness is only power when it's voluntary, when you can be ruthless, but choose not to. That's what separates manipulation from mastery. The manipulator uses empathy as bait. The master uses empathy as choice. And when you understand that difference, people start treating you differently. Their tone changes. Their respect sharpens. Because subconsciously, they feel it. You're not someone to play with anymore. But if the illusion of kindness blinds the weak, what drives the strong? Next, we'll uncover the predator's mind. You'll see how power is built not through cruelty, but through control. And once you understand their mindset, you'll never be prey again. Number 2, the predator mind. You think the world is run by the loudest people, but it's not. It's controlled by those who watch, not react. The ones who wait in silence while everyone else reveals their next move. Predators don't chase chaos. They study it. This will teach you to see through people's defenses, to read fear, ego, and insecurity like open books. You'll understand how real power operates: calm, quiet, invisible. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you'll begin to think like them, and thinking like a predator changes everything. Predators don't move emotionally. They move strategically. In nature, the lion doesn't roar before the hunt. It studies the herd, watches patterns, identifies the weak. Humans are no different. Your boss, your rival, your ex, they all reveal more than they realize. Their tone, timing, and body language betray their power level. Most people are too busy trying to be liked. The predator observes, and therefore controls. A man walks into a boardroom meeting. Quiet, composed. He doesn't interrupt, doesn't rush. While others talk over each other to prove intelligence, he listens. By the end, he knows everyone's ego, weakness, and desire. And when it's his turn to speak, he says just enough to align with power and dominate silently. 2 weeks later, his competitors are arguing, and he's promoted. Observation is the predator's weapon. Here's the truth. When you start seeing patterns, emotions stop controlling you. You begin to detach, not out of apathy, but precision. You stop asking, why are they doing this to me? Instead, you ask, what do they gain by doing this? If you've ever been betrayed or underestimated, type, I see the game now in the comments. Because that awareness is the first step toward dominance. The predator mind isn't cruel, it's calibrated. It doesn't act out of anger. It acts when probability favors victory. That's what makes it terrifying and respected. You become unpredictable. People can't manipulate you because you see every angle before it's played. You no longer react, you calculate. That's not coldness. That's control. But awareness alone isn't enough. You can read minds, yet still lose if you can't weaponize emotion. Next, we'll uncover the battlefield of emotion itself, where empathy becomes leverage and feelings become tools. Number 3, emotional warfare. People think manipulation is done with words, but the deadliest form uses feelings. The most dangerous person isn't the one who yells. It's the one who makes you feel safe while quietly steering your mind. You're about to learn how emotions are weaponized and how to disarm them before they own you. After watching this, you'll understand how emotional triggers control behavior and how to flip the script so no one ever manipulates you again. You'll see how guilt, pity, love, and even gratitude are used as invisible chains in modern society. Because in a world ruled by feelings, the calmest mind wins. Emotions drive 90% of human decisions. That's why every advertisement, politician, and influencer targets your feelings, not your logic. Dark psychology begins with emotional control, not suppression but direction. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He said, men are governed by their emotions, not by reason. Control emotion and you control men. So the question is, who controls yours? A manager once told his team they were family. He praised loyalty, passion, and sacrifice. And for months, they worked nights and weekends to support the vision. When profits came, he replaced half of them with cheaper interns. That's emotional warfare, disguised as leadership. He didn't demand obedience. He harvested loyalty. And they gave it willingly. Now think carefully. Who in your life uses emotion to steer your decisions? It might be a boss, a parent, a lover, even a friend who plays victim when you say no. If you ever felt drained after saying yes to something you didn't want, that's manipulation, not kindness. Comment below, I control my emotions, not the world. Because once you master that, no one can touch your peace again. Emotional warfare has 3 weapons: guilt, fear, and validation. Guilt keeps you compliant. Fear keeps you small. Validation keeps you addicted. The ruthless learn to flip all 3. They turn guilt into boundaries, fear into focus, and validation they create internally, not from the crowd. That's why the powerful seem cold. They're not heartless, they're untriggerable. In a world where everyone's emotions can be hacked, stoicism is your armor. If you've made it this far, your mind's not ordinary. Most people click off the moment the truth gets uncomfortable. But not you. You're one of the few who's learning to see through illusion. If you want more content that weaponizes awareness, subscribe right now. Because the next chapters are about turning emotional mastery into psychological dominance. You've learned to disarm emotion. But the most dangerous manipulators don't use emotion at all, they use morality. They hide behind goodness, ethics, and virtue, not because they believe in them, but because it's the perfect disguise. Next, we strip that mask away. Number 4, the mask of morality. The most dangerous liars aren't the ones who deceive for profit. They're the ones who lie in the name of virtue. They tell you what's right and wrong, not to guide you, but to own you. This is how morality becomes manipulation. You'll see how society uses the illusion of virtue to control thought, guilt, and obedience. You'll learn why the people who preach morality the loudest often break it the fastest. And by the end, you'll understand how to protect your independence in a world that weaponizes goodness. Morality is supposed to be about right and wrong, but when people use it to control others, it becomes a psychological tool. In corporate culture, it's called company values. In politics, it's public interest. In relationships, it's I just want what's best for you. The language changes, the mechanism doesn't. They create invisible cages, built not with force, but with shame. If they can make you feel guilty for choosing yourself, they never need to use chains. In the early 2000s, a global charity was exposed for spending more on luxury retreats than actual aid. They sold morality and the world bought it. That's how the mask works. It hides selfish motives behind words like justice, community, and sacrifice. Even Machiavelli warned of this. He wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." Modern manipulators don't need crowns or swords. They just need the right slogan. So ask yourself, who benefits when you obey? Who profits when you play nice, stay small, or stay silent? If you've ever been made to feel guilty for setting boundaries, type in the comments, "My morality is my own," because the moment you define right and wrong for yourself, you become ungovernable. The powerful learned long ago that people crave moral clarity. So they sell it. They manufacture outrage, distribute guilt, and monetize empathy. You become addicted to being good, even when it costs your sanity. But the ruthless understand this game. They appear moral when it's useful. They break rules when it's necessary. Not because they're evil, but because they know morality without autonomy is slavery. Now you understand how morality can be used to control your choices. But what if manipulation itself wasn't random? What if it was designed? Next, we peel back the curtain on society's grand experiment, the systems that make obedience feel natural. Number 5, manipulation by design. You think you're choosing freely, scrolling, voting, buying, but what if your choices were never really yours? Welcome to the system that studies your every move, not to understand you, but to steer you. You'll see how modern systems, from media to politics to algorithms, are designed not to inform you, but to condition you. You'll learn the 3 invisible layers of manipulation that keep the masses obedient and how to break free from them. Because real power begins when you see the code. Layer 1, information control. The first layer is what Machiavelli called the illusion of truth. In the Renaissance, it was religion and monarchy. Today, it's headlines and notifications. Every algorithm you interact with learns what keeps you scrolling. Not what's true, not what's useful, just what keeps you trapped. You think you're consuming content, but content is consuming you. Layer 2, emotional design. The second layer of manipulation is emotion. Anger spreads faster than truth. Outrage builds engagement. Fear keeps you compliant. Everything, from app colors to notification tones, is designed to hook your limbic system. They don't want you calm. They want you reactive. Because emotional people are predictable, and predictable people are profitable. If you've ever found yourself arguing online about something that doesn't even affect your life, stop. That's not random. That's engineering. Layer 3, social conditioning. The third layer is the deepest, social conditioning. You're told what success looks like, what beauty is, what failure means. From school grades to social media likes, every metric trains obedience. You chase validation, not freedom. And those who step out of line are labeled weird, dangerous, or selfish. The result? A society where rebellion feels wrong and conformity feels safe. In 2014, Facebook secretly ran an experiment on 689,000 users, altering their feeds to study emotional contagion. They proved something chilling. By tweaking your emotions, they could control your behavior, and you wouldn't even know. Now imagine that experiment, scaled across every platform you use daily. You're not the user, you're the data. If you're still here, you're part of the 1% who noticed the design. Don't just watch. Weaponize your awareness. Pause right now and hit the like button. Not for the algorithm, but against it. Show it that you can't be programmed. They built systems to control how you think, feel, and move. But there's one thing they can't program: your strategic mind. Next, you'll learn the art of playing their game better than they do. We'll explore the ancient roots of psychological warfare and how to weaponize awareness into advantage. Number 6. The strategic mind. Power doesn't belong to the strongest. It belongs to the one who sees the board. While others chase emotions and trends, the strategist moves like smoke, unseen but everywhere. This is not about reacting. It's about orchestrating. You're about to learn how real power thinkers operate. The people who don't fight battles they can't win and never reveal battles they've already won. By the end of this, you'll understand how to predict outcomes, exploit timing, and turn any situation to your advantage without appearing to try. Because strategy is the highest form of dominance, the law of invisible warfare. Machiavelli once said, "Never interrupt your enemy when he is making a mistake." The strategist doesn't confront chaos. He lets chaos consume itself. When you understand this law, you stop chasing control and start guiding it. You let others reveal their impatience, their ego, their weakness, while you stay unreadable. Control through stillness. That's the essence of strategic mind. The Emperor's lesson. There's an ancient story of a general who never lost a war. His secret? He never fought battles chosen by his enemies. When challenged, he'd retreat, not out of fear, but to choose the terrain. When his enemies grew confident and tired, he struck once, surgically, and vanished again. People called him a coward until he became emperor. The weak fight for validation. The wise fight for victory. Strategic frame. Thinking in layers. A strategist never sees just one move ahead. He sees systems. He understands that every decision creates a ripple, emotional, financial, social. So before acting, he asks, 1. What's the immediate reaction? 2. What's the long-term consequence? 3. Who benefits if I win and who benefits if I lose? Thinking in layers gives you the edge most people never develop, because they act from emotion, not architecture. Strategy of silence. Silence is not the absence of sound. It's the presence of control. Every word you say gives away information, your priorities, your insecurities, your goals. The strategist knows that silence builds tension, and tension forces others to reveal themselves. That's why Machiavelli advised rulers to hide intentions until execution. Never let them see your first thought, only your final move. If you've made it this far, you're not just watching, you're evolving. You've moved from awareness to control, from prey to player. So here's your move. High voltage, subscribe and stay, because the next lessons go beyond psychology. They enter strategy, deception, and influence. This is where the weak stop watching and the few keep learning. The world doesn't reward the loud, the emotional, or the impulsive. It rewards the strategic, the ones who move in silence and strike once. But there's one more layer beyond strategy, legacy. The mark you leave behind after every move. Now we'll uncover the psychology of immortality. Number 7, the legacy code. Every empire dies. Every king fades. But ideas never die. The greatest form of power isn't control, it's continuity. When your name becomes a symbol, you've achieved what even death can't erase. We'll uncover how to build psychological immortality, how thinkers like Machiavelli, Nietzsche, and modern power players embed themselves into the minds of millions. You'll understand how influence becomes timeless, not through fame, but through philosophy. Because legacies aren't remembered by history. They're programmed into human behavior. The law of echoes. Machiavelli wrote, "Men sooner forget the death of their father than the loss of their inheritance." He wasn't being cruel. He was being honest. Legacy is memory that profits. The legacy-minded don't seek approval. They engineer impact loops, actions that continue producing results even in their absence. Think of it. A system, a book, a company, a movement, each one a psychological echo that outlives the creator. You can't live forever, but your design can. The code of influence. Legacy doesn't begin with scale. It begins with clarity. You must define 3 things. 1, the idea you stand for. 2, the emotion you evoke. 3, the system that sustains it. Every powerful figure followed this code. Their words hit emotion. Their strategy shaped behavior. And their system ensured survival. That's why Machiavelli's name still commands fear 500 years later. He didn't just teach power. He institutionalized it. The man who never existed. During World War II, British intelligence created a fake officer named Major William Martin. They planted documents on his body to deceive the Nazis. The operation changed the course of the war, all orchestrated by a man who never lived. That's the ultimate lesson of the legacy code. Power doesn't need identity. It only needs belief. If your ideas live inside others, your existence becomes irrelevant. So ask yourself, when you're gone, what will people still repeat, quote, or copy from you? That's your legacy, not the things you own, but the thoughts you plant. Because power fades, wealth transfers, but ideology endures. You just walked through the entire spectrum of dark psychology: emotion, manipulation, control, and legacy. You now understand the very code the world runs on. But here's the truth Machiavelli never said out loud. The world doesn't reward the kind or the cruel. It rewards the calculated. If you made it this far, type "ruthless mind" in the comments, so I know you're part of the few who stayed till the end. And subscribe, not just to the channel, but to your own evolution. Because from this point forward, the world won't break you. It will fear you.